Hello and welcome to Why Are You Watching This, the brand new segment where we review movies for you to see or to avoid. I'm Justin W. here with the very first episode. Alice in Wonderland is a favorite among filmmakers to adapt, its story being so unusual and in the public domain. There are plenty of adaptations out there, some of which I'm sure you've seen. But I'm not here to talk about Tim Burton's version or the Disney film. Instead, I'm here to talk about a version you probably haven't seen. It's the 1988 film Alice from Czech director Jan Smakvic. This. You have all the normal characters, Alice, the rabbit, who's played by a taxidermied dead rabbit who's got crazy eyes and gleaming teeth and pulls a watch out of a rip in his chest and licks what are technically his intestines off of it. Yeah, let's talk about this film, shall we? This film is, well, a little dark. In it being pretty much nightmare fuel. There's the scene where Alice shrinks and turns into a creepy doll. The scene in the rabbit's house where he brings all his friends and they turn out to be skeletons. Freaking skeletons of God knows what, and it's terrifying. There's a brief chase scene in the book where Alice is chased by said animals, but in this film it's extended and made even more terrifying so that it seems like it's something out of Halloween. All these weird skeletons are coming out of nowhere at her, and eventually she's pushed into this liquid which returns her to her normal height, but still traps her inside of her doll body. Yeah, this is a creepy one, folks. The film remains pretty faithful to the book pretty much all the way through, even up until the point of the Queen's courtyard scene where we meet said queen in her court, obviously embodied by cards. This is where the queen yells, "Now off with their head!" And the rabbit, who's had scissors for this entire movie, finally utilizes them and cuts off the head of anybody the queen tells him to. There is one scene in particular that bothers me, and it doesn't involve taxidermied animals or skeletons or cockroaches or spiked bread or eggs that hatch skulls. No, this one involves socks. Freaking socks that travel in and out of holes in the floors like snakes or worms or some other burrowing animal. And to be honest, it's really oddly terrifying. And the unusually mellow caterpillar, who's usually smoking a hookah pipe in most versions, is instead in this version, well, this. Oh my god. This creature from hell literally sews his eyes shut when he goes to sleep. The tone of this film is a complete 180 from your average Alice in Wonderland adaptation, instead taking a darker route. Some of the more maniacal elements of Alice in Wonderland and blowing them out of proportion instead of putting music in. Speaking of music, there tends to be a complete lack of that in this film. There is absolutely no score whatsoever, and instead of that, we get these sounds. Everything has this oddly loud sound effect to it. From Alice walking to the mechanical movements of the dolls and the creatures, everything has this crickety sound, and it becomes very omnipresent, just everywhere as you're watching this movie. Another all-encompassing and quite annoying aspect of this film is, well, the narration. Yes, the narration in this film is quite unusual, and that all the dialogue by the characters is spoken by Alice herself, supposedly. And whenever she does, well, it cuts to this.
Said the White Rabbit.
And it gets really annoying after a while. However, despite this, it does add to the unrealness of this dream. Instead of making it an adventure or fun, it makes it feel like a story, something unreal, something intangible. The director fully infuses Czech surrealism, as well as the tradition of Czech puppetry, which is renowned around the world for its storytelling ability. However, instead of doing typical puppetry, everything moves in what we call stop motion. Stop motion is the kind of animation that was used for a long time, and nowadays you probably only know it from Tim Burton movies or maybe even Wallace and Gromit. It's not used anymore in place of the more common CG. However, it works really well to the film's advantage. Everything has this odd, weird, unrealistic feel to it because of the fact that the film itself is missing frames of action. So everything has this weird disjointed movement to it. This, combined with the elements I mentioned before, really turns this usually light story into a very dark portrait of Alice's mind. While this is very much appreciated, the film is supposed to be for children. I think. The film is nowhere near that, being way too violent and creepy for your average child. But because of that, it is somehow brilliant. Alice's Wonderland is very uncomfortable, and it's very clear that it abides by its own topsy-turvy rules. This forces you to really think about the original text, and that's something the other adaptations just don't do. So, should you watch this? Well, if you want to scare a younger sibling, show it to a friend who just won't believe you about this really effed up movie, or if you just want to see it for yourself, because there's plenty of things I haven't shown you in this film that are just jaw-dropping. Anyone who doesn't like to put a little thought into their movie-going experience isn't going to like this film. However, those that do, and particularly those that are Alice in Wonderland fans, should see this. It's an adaptation you've never seen before. The film is currently on Netflix Instant and Amazon Streaming if you want to check it out. Overall, despite the utter insanity that is this film, it does achieve what it's trying to do, and for that I give it 3 out of 5 scissor slices. This has been Why Are You Watching This? And I'm Justin W, signing off.